Oddly enough, I get a lot of my influence from Family Guy. I really do.
I saw that in your story today.
I do.
was like,
No,
I
I'm
love
serious. Like,
elaboration.
I didn't really listen to anything growing up but Family Guy.
So today, I have the honor of sitting with the Philly-based group ABBATIA, who recently released their newest EP, Red Room, which is available now for streaming on all platforms. So I know you guys are really busy touring around and promoting this EP, so thank you so much for sitting down with us for Modern Mixtape TV.
Thank you. No problem.
Yeah, so I think the thing that kind of struck me most about this EP was the way that you guys kind of settled into a sound that was like inspired by a lot of trap-based like industrial beats with also some like psychedelic influence. But kind of my first question is, do you guys feel like you identify with a certain genre when you perform your music, or do you think you actively try to avoid like being pigeonholed into like the modern limitations of like music genres?
Yeah, I don't really see us as a part of any genre. Not really. It's at least I will speak for myself, but it's not really like I'm not really against being in a genre. I just can't really quite name what we do, honestly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's never been like an intentional like avoidance of being defined, but it's just always seems to be every project it seems like harder and harder to define, I suppose. So, but we like that, I guess. Like, you know, we wouldn't want to be pigeonholed or anything, so.
And then I kind of realized like you guys did kind of develop in your sound with this EP. What's kind of the big thing that you feel like you were working on before you put out this newest project?
Like what? Sorry. Like what project we were working on? What?
Like what musically do you think you developed most like from your last release to this one?
I think just experience and just obviously wisdom. Within the first release in February to Red Room, I guess just a lot happened in our lives, and you know, signing and a lot of the shows. We had a lot of things to look back on and write about. So
A lot of coming into our own more, cause like the last project was Fugazi, and that was our first ABBATIA project. But really, we made those songs like 2 years before they came out, and back when we were still PD and shit. And over that 2-year time span, we really kind of understood who we were, what we wanted to do with music. I mean, you can't really control it, but how we wanted to be perceived, what we wanted to put out in the world, and yeah, that's really that.
We had a bit of an identity crisis for a while, where we were just kind of like trying things out. Fugazi was probably the only kind of public demonstration of that.
Yeah.
Those songs are fun, but they were much more an exercise in us kind of like stretching our legs creatively, especially with like the videos and things like that, just seeing like what kind of vibe we want to give off visually and aesthetically and things like that. But there's a lot of stuff that we didn't put out, but like a lot of other kind of like makeshift tracks that probably will never see the light of day.
No,
but
they will not.
But they were part of the learning experience, you know. Some of them might come out though. Some of them are really good.
Yeah, and you said like for the last project, you kind of were sitting a lot of those songs for like a long time. For this project, do you think it came a lot faster, or like how long was like the process from start to finish?
it was
Way faster.
It was way faster. We really started like moving in on it around April. I would say like April to September.
I think we had Kill Your Masters like
Kill Your Masters was
January. That was old though. You can hear it, but that one was a little older. But yeah.
But most of the
around
tracks came within like a couple of months.
April.
Yeah, a lot of it kind of became something, because it was just supposed to be a second EP with like a different sound. We were trying to do like a 3 EP thing where we were just trying like different sounds. It was, you know, it was supposed to be kind of like a bunch of different things to exercise stuff, but try and do as much cohesion as possible. But it kept growing and growing in concept, that we and more songs just kept getting added, that we thought we just opted to make it a full, more concise project than a smaller like 3-track thing.
And it's happening again, actually. The third EP is now on like an 11-song album now.
Yeah. It just happens like that. Like the things just grow. I think that's an important part of like what we've changed a lot is. Am I holding the mic close enough? Okay, cool. I think that's a lot of like the biggest philosophy I feel like we've changed is just kind of letting the music like come to us and letting it grow and kind of treating it like an individual, like separate entity, kind of, because it just allows more external things to kind of just flow in, and it just makes them more interesting rather than just like, okay, here's a beat, let's write to it.
Yeah.
We take a lot of time to realize if we don't feel like a song is a thing yet, I mean, whether it's conscious or unconscious, we really try and not like force anything. We just kind of let it have its room or work on something else, because then it can reach its full potential if it has potential. If not, we just, kill it or it's gone forever.
Also, not to make this answer long-winded, but mixing too. Like I was always scared to touch our songs and mix them myself and all that shit. So what we used to do was, this is just me not knowing how to do shit, but like I would make these beats, or I'd make them with other people, whatever. We would have the beat, record, da 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 da. I would do all these effects on the beat, on the vocals, blah 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 blah. But then I'd send them off dry with nothing, and expect like another engineer to like know what I want and try and mix it, and it always sounded weird. And like even on Fugazi, because I didn't touch those, you can hear like the difference. It's not even totally a quality thing. It's just it was the wrong mixes for the type of music we were trying to make. But with this one, our Red Room, me and a good friend of mine, Pat Karoshi, shout out Karoshi, we mixed it together, and we were finally able to do the sound and get off the sound that we've been trying to like form.
Just becoming like
Yeah.
sonically independent, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely hear that, like, kind of settling into, like, your original sound with this EP. And I would love to know kind of what is your usual, like, creative process? Like, how do you divide the work? Is it, like, collaborative in every stage? Like, kind of just take me through start to finish, like, how you would make a song and send it out.
Want me to go?
It always starts on your end, so you can start there. Yeah.
Yeah, usually we'll have a concept for a project or song, whatever. It could be loose, whatever the case may be, and I'll just start making a bunch of things, and sooner or later, a sonic palette kind of starts to form, and not to mention when I make these things, the reason why they sound the way they do is because I always try to mix in what I think they both would like, and even sometimes dislike, to see if they would maybe change their mind about something, but that's beside the point. But just try to tickle both of their fancies while doing what I do, and that's usually how the best music comes about. And then from there, I mean, our process is a little different now, but if you want to speak on the recording.
Usually we'll like freestyle like demos. Like I have like an audio bridge thing on my phone, and I'll just kind of be in my job recording like just jumbo flows, anything I could get off, and then whatever I find just sticks. I usually bring to Dylan, Tyler. I'm like, hey, you guys like this? If we like it, we'll record it, write some over it, and eventually it'll turn to verses, hooks, whatever, and it'll full circle.
There's a big element of kind of like going away and coming back with like, it's almost like we're out hunting, and then we're like bringing back like stuff. Like it's like, but with that comes like a collaboration about how to put all these pieces together, and all of our studio sessions are just us trying to like see what works, what doesn't, experimenting with something. Maybe like this kind of works, but maybe we tackle it in a different way. It's like a very experimental way of going about things. We just want to make everything as tight as possible, I think, for sure.
Quite a bit. Who wants to start?
Oddly enough, I get a lot of my influence from Family Guy. I really do.
I saw that in your story today. I was
do.
like, I would
no,
love
I'm serious.
elaboration.
Like, I didn't really listen to anything growing up but Family Guy. Like, tunes, like, stuff from it. I was so obsessed with Family Guy, I had stuff downloaded on my PlayStation. I had a PlayStation 3, and back on PlayStation 3, you could buy Family Guy episodes on the PlayStation Store, and I watched the same Family Guy episode I forget it was some with Peter. It was really funny.
Some
but
with Peter.
but he had a song in it, and I just thought it was so funny. And that's like the influence I take for the most part. It's just I think we all kind of like Family Guy. I think that's really what brings out our
The best in us.
but just like the fun you hear, the fun you see at shows, like the kind of like we don't take ourselves as seriously anymore. I think an important part of that was Family Guy.
It's a direct result of Family Guy.
A Family Guy, yeah.
Okay.
Shout out Seth MacFarlane.
Got it.
Growing up, all I heard really was like psych rock from my dad, like Grateful Dead, Ozric
I can definitely
Tentacles,
hear
like
that, yeah.
Pink Floyd, Talking Heads, Widespread Panic, Fish. God, my God, how much Fish I heard. But I really liked it, and then that mixed with like the first kind of music I got into was dubstep, and so they kind of just ended up blending together. And then he showed me hip hop. I remember he showed me Rick Ross and them.
I was always a big
Made
hip hop
back music.
guy. I grew up listening to like really mainstream Drake, Rick Ross, and Meek Mill in that era. But then I got into music through Tyler the Creator, and I guess in current day I'm very inspired by like Def Grips, JPEG, Kiro, Tame Impala. Definitely, I wish I could sing like Kevin, but it's fine. Also Mac
Tame
Miller.
Impala's one guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'd like to think you can hear that too, like
Oh, definitely.
like what he said with the Family Guy, but like like the punk shit. Not to air your shit out, other than Family Guy, but like
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Flag and them, like
Yeah, I like punk
I like
music.
that you can I like to think that you get all that in the songs all at once in this nice amalgamation of whatever the fuck they end up sounding like. But yeah.
I'd like to add Danny Brown because he's a big reason why I even felt comfortable like extending my voice and making it more
Dynamic.
yeah. Because without him I'd probably still be using this voice, this sort of thing.
We love Daniel.
Yeah, he's so much fun. He taught me how to have fun.
Yeah, and I can definitely hear like all of that like eclectic taste in your music. I almost feel like you guys are like inventing this new like hybrid genre, which is awesome because I just haven't
you.
really heard
that.
music like that like in like any kind of like pop scene.
Appreciate
so
that.
I think it's awesome that you guys are bringing that in and bring it into the Philly house scene. I love it. And one thing I did want to talk to you. You guys are pretty experienced in the Philly house scene in general, and what I found is like everything here is very like welcoming and very like community, and I'd love to hear kind of your perspective on what the Philly house show scene is kind of like right now and how the DIY scene is doing.
Commenting on scenes.
The house show scene has been very welcoming to us. Every house show we've done, like all the venues, they've been they've treated us very well. But the DIY scene, we've had our like, you know, it can be a little gatekeeping, gives like high school vibes.
A lot of people. I don't want to speak on the whole scene because
Yeah, not the whole
obviously our
scene.
bubble is our bubble, but feels like a lot of people don't want others to succeed around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Egos seem to get in the way.
Yeah.
We can't really comment on it because we don't talk to people when we go
Yeah,
to venues.
that's
really.
true.
Like we meet the nice people who run the venue. Maybe we talk to a sound guy, maybe a light guy here and there. But like we don't network really. Like we don't. Anytime we've ever been encouraged to network or try and force ourselves to network, it's been a real like eye roll, fuck fest.
Feels
Can we
contrived.
curse? Are we allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, go for it.
I already talked about Family Guy, so we're
No,
already
you're
getting
good.
in pretty raunchy territory already. But
Fucking raunchy.
But yeah, no, we're pretty like reclusive when it comes to, we kind of just stick to the wall until the set's over. But we met some really nice people through that. Like all the people we met at the DIY venues have been pretty cool. I just wish some of the people in the mosh pit would know how to mosh better. Some of them
I get that.
some of them just elbow and they think that's how you mosh, and I don't know. I've almost had like my teeth caved in like multiple times because people just learn how to mosh.
My
That's
glasses
awesome.
got punched off at this one show. This girl punched them, like broke them in half. I was like, what?
Were you performing, or was this?
I was performing.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was bad.
It gets pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
No, I can understand like the gatekeeping though. I think that comes with any like DIY scene, just because it's within the community that's being like ran. Like there's companies within the people that are in the community, so I think just it ends up getting a little bit complicated sometimes. But
Yeah.
you guys have played at some pretty amazing like venues around Philly, whether it be DIY or like professional. Is there any like certain experience that kind of sticks out to you in your mind as being like really special or really important?
Honestly, that last Mansion show was pretty awesome. We definitely had our little run when we were young boys at the Voltage Lounge. Rest in peace. Those were definitely momentous moments for us.
Those
But
are really like
Mhm.
grassroots moments,
Yeah.
because a lot of it was like
Yeah.
friends and family
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
out,
yeah.
friends of friends coming out. It felt a lot more like a kind of a celebration of a new thing we
Yeah.
were doing, more than like a show. It
more
just
and
felt
more,
like a
yeah,
bunch of people being fucking proud of us, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
it was a big deal.
yeah, more and more shows. The more shows we do, and longer time goes by, we get more comfortable with what we're doing and how we do it, and really giving everything as much as we can to the
Yeah.
performance. And
Mhm.
one of the reasons why that Mansion one was one of our favorites, I think, was because we mentally and physically just got to a point to where we know exactly what we want to do, we know exactly what we want to provide, and how we want to do it. And so when we did it and people really liked it, just felt really good.
I feel like mentally cutting out like doubt, because like when you do a show, you know, you have like check-in, and then you have all those, you have load-in times, and then you have like all that time to just sit and wait for your time.
Think about how things can go wrong.
Yeah, thinking about how things can go wrong, and just like not liking the vibe, and like your shit being all knocked off. But I think, I don't know. I just that we've gotten to a point where it's just been a bit more. We've been able to tune out a lot of it. Like you guys have like a bit more of a quite physically like get away from the venue before the set kind of thing. But I just feel like we've gotten a lot more comfortable with kind of just tuning out all the noise until it's time to go on and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And another thing is that we've been trying to make our shows a lot more dynamic with like visuals and stuff, and making sound a bit more dynamic, playing with vocal effects and things like that. So we always want the shows to like not only stay fun, but we want them to just be new experiences every time. We don't want you to like go to an ABBATIA set like in 2 years after you've seen us before, and then have it be like the same you know, set list or same experience. We want it to be like a unique thing every time.
Yeah, and I think one of the most compelling parts of your like live performance is those like visual aspects, and like I think your visual aesthetics like as a band and as a group is like one of the most important parts of like how you like brand yourself and how you like get yourself out there. So does that come from one of you? Like, does one of you handle visuals, or is it like a collaborative?
Well,
project?
from like a controlling perspective, and like actually like running them and doing like some of the editing, it does come through me.
Okay, yeah.
But it's really a collaborative effort
Sure.
at the end of the day, because a lot of the things we choose to display in like our music videos and things like that, all of our music videos are like the biggest collaborative effort we could ever do. You know, like with our songs, like a lot of the, you know, big production things and the things that are added to the song, you know, rely on Sydney and whoever he's working with on that particular song or project or whatever. But when it comes to music videos, we kind of all get to throw an idea into the hat, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So I guess I'm kind of like the last step in the process of the visuals, but like it all comes from us. For sure.
And then kind of what role do you think those visual aesthetics like play in like how you're being perceived by your fans?
Well, I think the point of visuals for a live show is to kind of, unless they're like crazy elaborate, like Tame Impala's where he's literally doing this, the goal of visuals live in my mind is to kind of transport the audience into a different environment through visuals. You know, you see something behind the performing act, and you kind of put yourself in that position mentally. Like, it's the aesthetic that you're in, and you kind of can't get away from it unless you leave the room. But, like, you know, and that philosophy just travels up, and it gets exponentially more complicated. Like, Tame Impala shows are literally, like, another world. Like, you look up, and there's just crazy shit going on everywhere, behind you, to the side. Like, I really want to do a show with us at some point where every part of the room is projecting something or contains something, to where, like, the whole room is, like, an environment. But, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but that's how I look at, like, what it should be.
No,
Like,
yeah,
what
it does.
visuals are, like, the point of them is to do that, is to just transport them or hypnotize them into a different headspace, I suppose, during the songs. It just helps.
Immersion.
Yeah. I think it helps so much to like really get across like the kind of vibe that you're trying to present to the audience. I mean, when I was in the audience, I knew it was like a very immersive like experience, and it just felt like very exciting, which I loved. And I think your energy is so like amazing on stage. Like you guys go crazy up there. But I was wondering, like, is there a certain like band or like something you might have seen in your childhood that you like take a lot of inspiration from when it comes to like live performance?
Tyler Creator, JPEG Mafia, Death Grips, those three mainly. And then obviously just letting out all that steam you have, from life. So
Felt like it came kind of natural. I remember,
too.
not to be all gushy and shit like that, but I remember, like, we recorded our first song, and right after, or something like right after, we went to Tyler's crib in the basement, and then we rehearsed them and performed them live. And I remember that being the moment after we did it. We were just like, oh, we have to do this for the rest of our lives. Like, this is just what we do. So I mean, it came natural, but 100%.
Those influences for sure. I think we all take like pretty like esoteric like influences like about like the kind of things we do live, like the kind of movements and things like that. But over time, like we start from that basis, but they've evolved into our own kind of thing eventually. Like you try, like when you first do like your first couple of shows, you kind of try and mimic.
Yeah.
But then eventually you figure out, okay, I don't bend this way, so I'm not gonna do that.
I don't. Yeah.
You learn the hard way.
Like I can't like Ride from Death Grips like bends like his entire spine backwards during times, and I still try and do that sometimes. But then I feel it for 2 weeks, and then I'm like, okay, it's probably not worth it. It's not having something crazy, but you try and give the audience like. You try and look as animated as possible, I think, with our music, because our music is so fucking, like, bouncing off the walls kind of shit most of the time.
Also, I'd like to mention that when the audience gives back energy, it's so much easier just to let go. And when you're not even thinking about it, it all just...
Yeah, it's fuel.
Like, speaking on that live stream set that's going up right now, there was no audience, like, stuff like that.
So you have to really,
like the difference is tremendous.
No, I'm sure.
The best you can do is just visualize,
Yeah.
But, it's a whole different experience when you're live.
I think that's why it's so special for you guys in like the DIY scene, because just the energy that the audience gives is always insane. Like especially in those like small venues.
Yeah.
Like it becomes an amazing experience. But you guys seem to have a lot of like inspiration from people like Death Grips, and I know you guys are on the label A2B2, which is run by Andy Morin. So I was wondering kind of how you guys ended up working with Andy, and like kind of how you met him, how you got signed. Talk a little bit about that experience.
So A2B2 is just an online kind of art community, and they have a Discord that's just people sending creative shit, and it's just like kind of like this chaotic exchange of ideas and discussion and things like that. But then they launched a record label, A2B2 Records, with Death Insurance as their first signee, and we did some shows with her, and she's great. I think she was also a pretty formative part in us like kind of like tackling aesthetics in a different way, I think, but that's a whole other thing. But they were looking for people to like send through like demo stuff, and I kind of contacted. I don't even know if they actually were looking out for people like formally, but I remember DMing the record page, and I was wondering like, are you looking for signees? And then Bort from the A2B2 community said that send through a demo thing, some files you're working on, some songs you're working on, some new shit, and then we'll take a listen. Took a huge liking to them, showed them to Andy. Andy took a huge liking to them, and then from there it was just like a bunch of amazing things happening after another, and we got a lot of support from a lot of people in the scene over there in LA, and a lot of really cool things coming down the pike. So it was really a great experience. There's a lot of crazy shit.
I do want to add thank you to the A2 community, because
thank you.
I remember in that kind of transitioning to ABBATIA, we kind of A2 being a community, we felt we really had a community of people that would receive our music with open arms, as opposed to like, because like you said, like it doesn't really sound like a lot. There's only so many reference points in the music, at least for me. So it was cool to have people who are open to experimenting and just weird shit in general to feel comfortable making it. It made us feel very comfortable making it faster than maybe we would if we weren't involved. But yeah, thank you.
Yes.
And when it comes to like fan connection and stuff, like how do you guys try and like make an effort to connect with your audience and like reach out and like develop those connections? 'Cause I think that's really important when it comes to like community.
In the beginning, it was really hard because a lot of our fans were our friends in real life or people that we knew.
Yeah.
So interacting with them is like kind of awkward because it's like, okay, you know me, so I'm not gonna talk to you like we're like some like
Yeah.
crazy like hot shit band. So it was so, and that's part of the reason why it's so awkward sometimes performing for people we know now, because it's like we're doing big things and it's been like an exponential kind of growth and we feel like we're like entering into our own kind of thing right now. And you know, you come back and then there's people you know at the shows and you kind of feel bad even like putting on any kind of theatrics for them because it's, you fucking know me, you knew me when I was like fucking eating boogers and shit, so it's like what am I doing here acting like hot shit, you know? But anyway, I don't even remember what the question was. What was the question?
How do we interact with our fans?
Oh, yeah. So when the A2B2 fans kind of migrated over during the whole rollout and the World Wide Web video coming out, which thank you for all the support on that, it was really great, and just the EP in general. But when they came over, there was a noticeable difference in how they interacted versus our other fans. The A2B2 fans are like professional shit posters. All they do is shit post. They live and breathe shit posting. So when they're on our page, they're commenting troll shit, they're being goofy, and that's like exactly what we've always kind of like enjoyed about interacting with fans. So we get a lot of that now when we, you know, put up like a questionnaire or a quiz or like a fucking post or anything. We're getting like really dynamic comments and messages and things like that, and it's like really, really fun to kind of bounce off bullshit off of them because we're just like, outside of any other formalities, we're just stupid. Like we're all three of us are just really stupid all the time. So having people like kind of reciprocate that energy has just been great. And it's also, I think, helped us be more comfortable with doing that publicly, because when you do that publicly, you know, like we have our own like kind of brand of humor when we hang out and stuff like that. So since we feel more comfortable doing that, I feel like it's been less pressure to just pretend to be something for like the public, you know, image.
So that makes sense. And then I did want to talk about your like background a bit, like as a band. You talked a little bit about like your origins, and I know you guys have known each other for a really long time. But kind of, what's the story about how you guys like formed ABBATIA?
We were watching Family Guy.
It always starts with Family Guy.
Yeah, no, but we all went to grade school together, and we knew each other for since like second grade, third grade,
like kindergarten.
But, yeah, me and Jazz went to the same, but then Dylan came a bit later because he was at a different kind of like you know, posh academy school, but he came into the fold.
Can't believe you just did me like that.
No, but we all kind of knew each other from grade school, and then as we grew into high school, like we kind of linked up again, and we realized that we liked a lot of the same shit, like with like Odd Future shit, and we just tried to initially we were going to start like this insane collective of a bunch of people we knew. Some of them weren't even none of us were musicians really, but Dylan was at the time like getting into doing, you know, production and beats like that on like FL Studio and stuff like that. But we were just trying to, it wasn't really a serious like thing. It was just kind of like trying it out, seeing what would happen, but you know, seeing artists that we like being kind of DIY, kind of like, you can do this shit too. Like Odd Future was like the first thing to do that. Like other DIY bands like, you know, like Brockhampton and other things like that have come out where like the DIY path is a lot more accepted now. But at that time it was a bit more like, it felt very like special, and it felt very kind of like secret almost. Like it was like, we can really try and do this. But those other DIY bands that came out later made it seem a bit more like possible, especially with like the internet growing even more. But it kind of all started from just kind of wanting to fuck around with music and making fun stuff. We didn't even know if it was going to be like serious or anything like that, but then we eventually just kind of decided that some of the other people were like, us three just started to take it a bit more seriously, I suppose. Yeah. And it just became that. But yeah, that's
to add off of that, it really, everything started with us 2018 New Year's Day. Like, I remember Tyler came in the room on New Year's and he said, I have an idea. And it was for our old project under PD called the Glenny Hour. Sorry. Yeah, so we started, I want to say 2018 was when we really started as a group. And we went under alias for a couple years. COVID happened, and that's when we had time to look back and think about what we wanted to do with our career.
Yep.
And that's when ABBATIA came about.
We had some insane name ideas.
Yeah, it was so bad.
You want to hear one?
I would love to.
One was Faith Puppet.
One was Brad, B-R-A-D, bad rappers and dumb asses. Can you believe that? You can't believe that.
Bad news.
I was pitching for Ugly Truth for a while.
Ugly Truth, that's bad.
Could have done the Family Guys.
Yeah, we could have been the Family Guys.
That would have been good.
That.
For the record, I've never seen an episode of Family Guy.
He's lying. No, he just started watching South Park, so he wants to seem all cool. But no, we know what you actually like. You like the cutaway jokes. You love Family Guy, dog. Stop capping. But no, like, it was we had some crazy ass names, yeah, for projects and names and things and group names. I kind of regret not being Family Guys now. I think we should do another fucking revision. Yeah, another rebrand. We're gonna go away for 3 more years and become the Family Guys.
Was there a certain way ABBATIA came up?
Shit.
That was random, yeah. That was just how did I find that? It's a like a Latin I don't know if this is a word, but derivative word of abbey or cathedral or monastery. I don't remember where I found it, but I saw and it kind of just made sense in my head. Then I looked up like 3 different pronunciations to make sure I had it right.
I had to do that too,
yeah,
just to make sure.
But yeah, it kind of just stuck. It kind of had everything that we wanted. It evoked everything we wanted.
Yeah, the main thing was because our old name evoked a particular thing. The main thing we wanted to do was have a name that was so vague that we could take it into any genre we wanted and have it still fit, like kind of like tofu. So, but that's how ABBATIA came up.
I think it adds kind of like your originality too, because it's just like you never hear something like that. Like
Yeah.
it sticks in your brain. I feel like ABBATIA.
I just like how elegant it sounds. I like that it has a vowel at the end. That's my favorite part.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Family Guy would have been better to me. So.
You could always rebrand.
Yeah.
I expect credit for that, just by the way. And then you guys all grew up in Philadelphia too, right?
Yeah.
How was like growing up in Philadelphia and like a creative city kind of impacted you and how you like grew up artistically?
I hate it. It sucks here.
I wasn't outside, so
Yeah,
I don't really know shit about Philly. If we're being honest,
outside
I've been
either.
inside my whole goddamn life, so
I agree.
I could have. I feel like I could have been anywhere, but
What's funny
Yeah.
about it is that I feel like when we started doing like live shows and actually bringing our music to other places, I feel like we saw like the bottom of the barrel, like worst fucking parts of Philly, like so bad, and like we gradually climbed like the shit covered ladder up to something like nice. And it's, I don't know, like I feel like we've seen like what like like there's just people at the bottom like so like scammers and fucking like industry like people who are trying so hard to be industry so bad, like they're trying to like do the networking thing, but like the music is the final thought in their whole life. Like the rest of their life is networking, like their whole thing is networking who they are. But then you listen to their project and it's like what are we doing here? Like it's and I feel like we were in that space for so long, but our philosophy was kind of like so different that like we didn't understand anything that was going on.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know why people were acting like this. It's like, should we act like this? But it didn't feel right. Like none of it felt right. So luckily,
big personas out there.
Basically, when we got into the scene, we knew nothing because we were so new to it. Even me, like I played basketball like my whole life until we started music, so I didn't really like know anything. So we went in with no experience in a weird scene, in that like weird hip hop scene, and it just like
We didn't know what was normal
we
either.
didn't know anything.
Like,
We were just getting fucked over by like people running shoelaces, scammers, and weird interviews. It was.
if we didn't have our management, I don't know what we would do.
For sure.
Honestly.
Oh my god.
And that is a fucking crazy story of chance that if we think about it, I sweat a little bit. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
it's
lie.
weird.
Thinking about the odds of.
Weird.
So.
Go for it.
Bit of a tangent, but
Go for it.
but it's relevant. So the way we found our manager Nick, or the way he found us, was he heard one of our old songs in an Uber, and that's how he like got into contact with us.
But it was my uncle.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was my uncle.
Was he driving the Uber?
He was driving the Uber.
Okay, so his
Oh,
uncle was
dang,
driving
okay.
the Uber.
And
And
that's
he
why your uncle played it, right?
Yeah, he was playing Pepper.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said that out loud.
Yeah, he's playing.
It's the first time we ever
Everyone
met.
go look it up and watch it. That's what we're actually like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like the crazy chance that that dude
Yeah.
was in that Uber that day with that uncle. Crazy. Unbelievable. But they, Nick and our other manager, Natalie, like if we didn't have them, like we wouldn't be able to do like any of the kind of ambitious shit we wanted to do.
Totally, yeah.
Because we would just be stumbling around in the dark because they have so much expertise. Like they've worked in this industry for so long. And the most important part is that they have like absolute undivided dedication to what we want to do so bad. Like I can't even hyperextend how like amazing it is to have them.
Yeah.
You
I think
know?
it's important to have people that surround you that just like kind of understand what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like just a community that, you know, like will be for whatever you want to put out
Yeah.
and whatever you want to do as a band.
They easily could have been like scammers, like easily.
Yeah.
They easily could have taken advantage of us at so many turns, but you know, it was kind of a level of trust that kept getting built. It was like with everything they did, it was like, are you really doing this like right now?
Yeah.
Like without being
When are you
like,
gonna
paid?
fuck us over? What's
Yeah,
happening?
when it like
Mhm.
not like you're gonna help us like financially.
They're aunt and
No,
uncles
like, I
now.
don't know. It's crazy. We love them.
At this point, they're, family. Love them.
Family guy.
Yeah, family guys.
They're the family guys.
They're
right?
family guys.
Yeah.
And then kind of before we wrap up, I want to talk about goals too. So like for short-term goals, like within the next like 5 years or so. Well, no, sorry, that's long-term. But within the next like year, what do you guys want to accomplish?
Album out. Tour. That's pretty good.
Cool. Do you want to tour outside of Philly or like?
Yes, absolutely.
cool.
And
We want to play festivals too.
I guess
wanna
it'd
be
just be
outside.
it
That'd
kind
be
of be a
great.
lot to list off the little things, but like merch, just yeah.
Just for this year.
Yeah,
Them
sure.
Johns, but we have a lot planned for this year, a lot of building to do, and
Yes.
by the end of the year, we hope to be a different animal.
Yes. We're just
Very
trying
cool.
to kind of build up every other facet of our, just the ABBATIA
Yeah.
enterprise. Just to fire on all cylinders, I guess.
Ooh, we didn't even talk about the multimedia stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we I don't want to get into that too much.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of want to wait for it to happen. But
Mhm.
we are very into multimedia things, and so this year and the following years, we hope to turn ABBATIA into something more than just music. But
Yeah.
that's all I'll say on that.
The music's
Very
gonna be
cool.
the center point of everything, but around that we want to build an environment where we're gonna be able to like branch off and do visual art, filmmaking, fucking TV show episodes, like all
Yeah.
this shit, gaming videos, whatever, like anything. Like we want to be able to do a lot of this shit because all of us like we kind of grew up watching like YouTube and shit and internet videos, so like there's a lot of things we wanted to try and get off our bucket list. So like we want to have fun doing that.
I think you guys have such a brand to like your sound and to your like group that I think definitely there can be a lot that comes out of that
Yes.
just because of like how you present yourself. So
Yeah, we want to do that so bad.
yeah, and then for like long-term goals, I guess that could be one too. But like
Yeah.
within the next 5 years, if you had your ideal situation, like where would ABBATIA be?
5 years? Oh. Shit.
Crazy
I'm
shit.
trying to be in another country in 5 years,
Yeah.
touring with these niggas.
Definitely want to be like having. I think we all want to be living off music,
For sure.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be on a tour with Orange Cap. Shout out Orange Cap.
Yes.
Shout out Tech. Shout out Very Vaughn. Shout out Ken and Naj.
Everyone.
Shout out all them niggas. Shout out Layfield.
All of them.
Shout out everybody. I'm
All of 'em.
forgetting it. Shout out Jamie Takateru. Shout out all of them. If I'm forgetting you, you know I love you. Shout out. I hope we
A
on
lot
tour
of
with
'em.
them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also personally I want to be in a Pop Secret commercial in 5 years. I have a thing with popcorn, and I have a good pitch for them. So I do want to
Family
get
Guy's
Okay.
still going. I want to be in Family
I was
Guy.
gonna
I
say you
think we
guys
should
could have
all
a
be in
feature on
Family
Family Guy.
Yeah, I want us to be in it so bad. I want to see what we look like
that
drawn.
would be so funny.
I might have
Maybe
to
that
make
could be a
something.
part of your multimedia
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing. Just make a off-brand Family Guy.
Yeah. We should get
Really
Seth
good.
MacFarlane to narrate like a project, maybe. Do the Stewie voice.
Goal 1.
That
5
would be
years
so
from now.
good.
Yeah,
we
and
definitely
then-
want to play like outside in other countries too. I really
Mhm.
want to do that. I want to play, in Japan and like Denmark and shit, like crazy ass countries.
Totally.
I want to play in Iceland if they have concerts there.
Shout out Iceland.
Yes, I would love that. I love it. You
Yeah.
Icelandic people.
Yeah, we have a huge Icelandic audience
Yes,
here.
everyone is watching.
And then kind of like as we wrap up, is there anything else that you guys wanted to share? I want to get your socials too before we leave.
I'm Sir Drugi on Instagram. And that's it. And ABBATIA_, that's our page.
Yeah, Beisha_. That's all I got. We're working on an album right now. It's sounding nice. It's gonna be nice when it comes out.
Very nice.
Just give us some time. It was supposed to be like 4 songs, but now it's 11, so we need some time. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Great. Well, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for everyone to hear everything new. And if you haven't listened to Red Room yet, go listen to it. Out now on all platforms. So
Thank you.
thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you.
talking to me. It was so great.
Thank you.
Thank you, actually.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Peace out.